were doing, people got really excited and wanted to know more about that. So for example, like reusing all of our shipping materials and using sustainable packaging when we launched our online shop. And so around that same time when we started to put together, like people are actually interested in hearing. It's not just like some nerdy thing that we're doing. They want more of it. We were thinking about product expansions within Forage. And we had kind of just said, like, what if we, a lot of the sustainable living things that I use in my life, that Jamie used in her life, weren't available locally at all. It was something that you had to order online, or, when we were traveling around stores, we'd find these specialty shops on the West Coast or, in bigger cities, but none of that was really available locally. So we thought, we could like bring it here.
Sorry to jump in. Remind us where you are locally, because people are joining from, all over.
Oh, yes. So Jamie is in Louisville, Kentucky right now, and I am in Columbus, Ohio. And we operate shops in Columbus, Louisville, Lexington, and Denver currently, soon to be Cincinnati as well.
It's hard to keep track.
For us as well. But so we thought about bringing those products into our local markets. Forage just like a tiny shelf. And really quickly we were like, no, this could be a whole thing. Like this should be a whole brand by itself. And we would kind of just keep coming back to it in our weekly strat chats, and started calling it Project Koko, which ended up sticking. And now here we are. Like a year later.
That's wild. So just to break it down, because it moved so fast, you started out with Forage as this plant shop, etc.
Yes.
You had the idea of a pop-up within the shop. You launched that in right as soon as COVID and the shutdowns hit, right?
Yeah, so we were supposed to open Koko's within Forage the week of Earth Day. So as you know, the shutdown started happening right around St. Patrick's Day. So we were like, oh man, this is not going to work. This is not going to work out for us. So we did what we call a COVID hustle and launched a website.
Yes. Yeah. And it's been pretty wild because that was around the same time that we relaunched our bars as a $10 bar that we know now. And we had, wholesalers that were, retail partners that were planning to order. And then we're like, wait, we want to hold off until we figure out what's going on. And every store for us that was able to move forward and make orders, sold like crazy. And you guys quickly rose to the top of that list.
Yeah.
It was pretty exciting as well, because there were a lot of questions about whether this was going to even be possible. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, thanks for that great introduction.
Yeah.
I want to step back a little bit and just get into who are you all as people a little bit. We do a lightning round. Sometimes we save it at the end, but I want to do it here towards the beginning just so that people can sort of see the you behind this amazing success of Koko. So first question, because we love to adventure, where, city or rural, I don't care, where is your number one favorite place to adventure? Jamie, let's start with you.
Yeah, you go first, sucker.
Honestly, something that's super cathartic for me and just freeing is being so I live partially in Denver as well, and it's just being in the mountains in general. So anytime I can get to the mountains in the summer or winter, both, because I'm a snowbird as well, that is my favorite place to be.
Super cool. How about you, Adria?
Yeah, I would say Asheville, North Carolina is my favorite spot. I spent a lot of time there right out of college. We lived in Charlotte. That was kind of our weekend vacation spot. And then we ended up getting married there. We go back once a year. Just love it.
Nice. There's so much to do outside of Asheville. It's crazy. Favorite adventure food?
Adria can answer that for both.
Oh, come on. I know we talked about one answer, but now I'm feeling shamed. So I don't know. I literally eat a perfect bar every single day of my life. So that probably
a lame answer.
fine. Okay. Jamie and I both really like beef jerky, which is, as we discussed, sort of a controversial answer. But we are humans and we are imperfect. And we try to limit it, knowing the environmental impact of the meat industry. But we do love beef jerky.
Beef jerky is delicious. I won't deny it. And I think that's a really interesting thing. We'll come back to it later.
Yeah.
But yep, cool. Favorite book / podcast?
Yeah, since you made me make our meat confession, I would like you to go first. Thank you.
So this is like such a lame answer, but I really, really, really loved How I Built This podcast with Guy Raz. I think it's just like such an inspiration to listen and tune into, all these what we consider bigwigs in, industry, and just know that they started in the same places that we did, and that's just like it's really inspirational.
Yeah, totally.
Mine has absolutely nothing to do with business. My favorite book is The Secret History by Donna Tartt.
I'll have to look that up. I'm not familiar with it.
Wonderful.
The Secret History.
The same person who wrote The Goldfinch, if you're familiar.
Okay. I'm actually not. I don't know what that says about me, but now I have 2 books that I want to look up.
Yes.
So cool. Your biggest wish. Adria, we'll start with you.
Ooh, I'm a mom of 2 little boys, Theodore and Milo, and I think my biggest wish, and something that's been weighing on me a lot recently, obviously, kind of in the crazy state of the world, is like, man, I just hope they get to grow up, like at all, and I think that's really a sad state of the world. It's not like, I hope they grow up and they're happy and like, they're feeling fulfilled. Like at this point, I just want them to be able to grow up, and like have something here. Not a pile of rubble. I made it really dark. I did, right off the bat.
I can't really give any kid answers. I wish I had that, but honestly, my biggest wish is for some sleep.
Oh, that too. Yeah, that's my second.
In 2021, some sleep.
Yeah, we'll sleep then.
Maybe all of us could have sleep. I feel like 2020 has just kept us all up.
It has, in many, many ways, yeah. Well, the flip side of that, your biggest fear?
I think I already answered that. I think I got a pass.
Jamie, how about you?
Gosh, I don't even know. My biggest fear, there's so much to be fearful of, but so much to be like, so, I don't know, happy for. I'm gonna pass on this because I think we both, Jamie and I are both big people pleasers. And also I think we both fear failure a lot, which is why we just kind of keep moving. Because there's no time to be scared when you're just constantly on the hustle. Like a protection tactic.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. I mean, I think that there are a lot of fears that we all carry right now, and we all have our ways of looking those fears in the face. In certain ways, I think your, that big wish that you have, Adria, of wanting a world for your children to grow up in, the work that you're doing at Koko is striving to build that.
Yeah, certainly.
And sometimes those fears that we have, learning how to look at them and move forward anyway, it can feel really daunting right now. So thanks for your honesty in that.
Yes.
And then the last lightning round question, the person or movement or moment, sorry, it's supposed to be moment, but maybe it's a movement that has inspired you.
Ooh.
Honestly, this is going to be all mushy and stuff, but I think one of the bigger moments that inspired me and also gave me courage was, so Adria and I had another business together prior to this, and Forage, and we had been doing it, moonlighting on the side of our corporate jobs for a very, very long time. And the moment that Adria had the courage to step outside of her job and make, our business a full-time thing, gave me a lot of courage and inspiration to just pull the plug or not pull the plug, but just go for it, and that's been kind of like my mentality ever since, is just like, just go for it. Like, that's kind of what you do as an entrepreneur. A lot of times, it's a lot of risk taking. And so that's like a really big moment that inspired me.
That's cool. Yeah. That's really cool.
Aww. And I think we're really lucky, and I think it's one of the things that kind of is, people are always like, how in God's name do you guys do it? And I think the real answer is that we probably couldn't do it if there weren't two of us, because the truth is that there's pretty much constantly one of us crying on the floor, or like, I'm so tired, or like, I can't do this anymore. I'm like so frustrated, or like, it's been such a hard week. And the other one's like, okay, have your moment, then, get yourself back up. And not everyone's lucky enough to have that. So I'd say we like constantly do that for each other.
Yeah, and being in business, especially for yourself, can be a really lonely game. So it feels very fortunate to have a partner in it, because I know a lot of entrepreneurs that are just doing it by themselves. It's lonely and it's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and I think that speaks to, whether you are running a business, whether you are working. I know a lot of people are working at home alone right now, or whether you're just in this pandemic period. I think that idea of, how can we find each other and how can we support each other is one that resonates so much, because there is a lot that we carry. I think societally, one of the things that is a really big sickness in our society is that we have, because of how our society is structured, we are pretty isolated, even before all of this happened, before 2020. And I think one of the things that's so beautiful about the space that you're creating at Koko, and it sounds like one of the reasons that you continue being able to keep on creating, is that you have found some support with each other. So I think this is a good segue into one of my questions, which I'm just gonna bring the beef jerky right back. Sorry, you might be gone with that, but I think one of the reasons why I'm so fascinated by the way that you are, the way that you approach sustainability for everyone at Koko, is this fact that you recognize there's more than one way to work towards sustainability. As a soap company, a shower bar company, that, literally my soapbox is, what can we do to adventure forward and take that next brave step towards living more sustainably? We use lard in all of our bars. And sometimes we get, questions like, how could you do that? Especially from the very vocal vegan community, which I think has so much, such an important role to play in the sustainability movement. But there are also, as I've shared with you, I've blogged or I've written about this as well, like why we choose as a sustainability choice to use locally based a locally based agricultural product in our bars. It's very intentional. And so I'd love to hear you talk a little bit more about what you do at Koko to make people feel welcome. And, when you say sustainability is for everyone, what kinds of things, like, in addition to how offering red blood cells or admitting that you eat beef jerky, how do you make that approachable for people?
Yeah, I think, when we were starting to think about what we wanted Koko to be and how we wanted it to feel, I think something that kept coming up was, how sometimes sustainability can feel really unapproachable. If you don't already know what you're doing, or you're not kind of already, what we call an eco warrior. you can feel really, like intimidated, I think, just by the industry. It also, there's this feeling that, information or education isn't accessible because it involves asking questions and maybe being ashamed, or, maybe you do eat meat and you feel like, oh, well, then I've blown the whole thing, now I'm not sustainable. And we decided that we really wanted to approach it with kind of like a no judgment. We're going to meet you where you're at. Everybody has to kind of do their part in their own way. There's this kind of famous zero waste and sustainability quote about, we don't need everyone doing sustainability perfectly. We need like millions of people doing it imperfectly, and that's kind of like our mantra. We'll take you along the journey, and that's going to look a little different for everyone.
I love that quote so much. I think it is so applicable and such a good
I totally butchered it, but you knew which one I meant. Yeah.
I know which one you mean. Yes, you're good. So that actually is a very interesting, brings me to another interesting point, which as we think about sustainability and accessibility, I asked this question of you, as we were chatting a little bit before, and I love your answer, and I think it's so important for people to hear, is this idea of, well, how is it accessible if it's more expensive? Like, what does that mean? And, if you want to, make products accessible, then how can you give your answer to that question? Because you had such a wonderful way of framing. I probably didn't ask the question as well as I could.
Who said it before? Was it Jamie?
I think it was you, Adria.
It was totally you.
Damn it, I thought I was going to get out of it.
No, totally not.
I think part of the problem in just the, the way that our society and the way that capitalism works here, and the way that we buy and consume products, is that we are used to buying cheap things that last a very small amount of time. We're so in this mindset of single use. And so when we see something that is more expensive, but that lasts a little bit, a longer time, we gawk at the price because we're used to everything being so cheap. Instead of thinking, shifting the mindset and thinking about the buying habit of like, oh, if I buy this one wood dish brush that lasts, the handle lasts forever, and I just have to keep replacing this little head, well, like, this $6 dish brush is going to be more worth it in the long run. And that's just outside of all the environmental impacts. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people that think that sustainability is spending money on all of these expensive things, and that's not necessarily, that goes back to like everybody's journey looking different. I could have everything in Koko, right? And I do have everything in Koko because I own it. But I could have all those things and still send my kid to school with like Lunchables and like tons of prepackaged snacks and like not compost. Meanwhile, somebody else in like a different part of life, they don't have all of the dish brushes and the wood things, but maybe they compost, and maybe they're vegan and really limiting their meat consumption. And so I think there are so many different ways to go about it. I think that's what makes it more accessible. And I always like to say, like, you do the best with what you have, and that's your information, your education, and your resources. And when you can make a better choice, when all those things are in line, then you do. You know, but we can't hold people accountable when they don't have the same access to some of those things. You know, there's a lot of conversation about sustainability and low income and like what that looks like. And I think that gosh, I could get started on that. I'm not going to, but that's a societal thing. That's not a people thing. That's a limit of resources and a limit of education and a limit of accessibility to products. So I don't know if I just answered that question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did. Thanks. So I'm looking at our time, and I think we're going to jump to the giveaway winner, just so we can make sure to do that. And then we'll let people ask some questions and answer some questions if we have those. So thanks, everyone, for playing with the giveaway, or for entering. Our winner, we drew it this morning. Amanda, who is usually helping me, like I said, she's our giveaway selector. So she did the random draw selection, and dun, da, da, da. The winner is, wait for it, Meredith. Meredith Turpak is the Instagram handle. So congratulations, Meredith. You will be getting Red Bud Suds of your choice and the Koko deodorant bundle and the
Dental bundle.
The dental bundle. That's right. Yeah. So congratulations.
Lucky you, Meredith.
Yeah. And I thought, since we are getting really close to the holiday season too, if Adria or Jamie, if you have any things that, you know, people could particularly have in the back of mind for holiday gift ideas or anything like that you might hot sellers or
I think it kind of depends on what your needs are. You know, about sustainability is using what you currently have, and then as you need it, buying what you don't have. So there's a lot of different product options that you could do, but if you're shopping for somebody that is new in the sustainability game and don't know where to start, I definitely recommend checking out our bundles.
They're really awesome. I will say. I also have to just put in my own little word. I will never have enough stasher bags. Those stasher bags, if you're not familiar, it's like Ziploc except forever. And they're amazing. I use them all the time. The little one actually fits my phone. So I use it also as a little grab bag when I'm paddling.
Good waterproof. That's good for adventuring too, by the way. So if you're going up in the mountains or to a river or lake or whatever, stasher bag.
I love it. Yeah, and it's funny because I wasn't going to call out like a specific product, but I was thinking like everyone who ever comes in here for a gift, I swear they walk out with one of those, because it is one of those things like that I think everyone could use.
Yep.
You know, because I feel like everybody uses plastic Ziploc bags, or they did.
Yeah, I mean, even in my, like, as I've been working to eliminate single-use plastic packaging, Ziplocs are something that have been really hard for me to actually completely get rid of because they're so handy. I wash them. I turn Ziplocs into stasher bags. I take other people's Ziploc bags when they're ready to throw them away, and I keep washing them. But those stashers, I'm just going to keep on adding to my stasher stash until...
Yeah, they're amazing. And because they're see-through, like when we're allowed to travel again, I like to use them when I'm flying. I use one as my makeup bag because I'm like always spilling my makeup all over the place, and cloth things just don't cut it for me. They're amazing.
Yeah. So I want to give a little bit of time if anyone has any questions, if you want to pop them in either the Zoom chat or the Facebook. Looks like, let's see here. Doesn't look like we've had a ton. Find sustainable adventure every day. Yes. What is your favorite outdoor adventure activity?
Mine is just hiking. That's just kind of my Monday activity when we are away from the stores. So you'll find me, and I love hiking when it's cold. Like if like, especially summers in the South, like, no, thank you. But if it's like 50 40, even 30, like I'm okay.
Opposite. No.
I'm with you, Jamie. Just saying, if it's cold, I'm happier than if I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Jamie like loves it because every time I have to go do store visits in Denver, it like pours snow and she gets so much joy out of it because I can't stand it. Oh, I'm not a snowbird. She's our snowbird. I honestly like, because I do what I do and because I've got 2 children, probably don't get as much outdoor adventure time, but when we do, it's honestly, it's just hiking. Jamie and I hike like when we're on our business trips and things. So truly just, or like the neighborhood
Playground.
5-year-old and 2-year-old version of hiking, which is walking.
Yeah.
Walking and then carrying.
Yeah, walking and carrying. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So we have another question. What is your best-selling item?
Ooh,
I
Little
would
Seed
say the deodorant.
Yep. Twinsies. Yeah, the Little Seed Deodorant Cream, which if you have not tried it, natural deodorant is one of those things that I feel like a lot of people struggle with. And so, you know, when we were selecting what to sell in the shop, I think we were really conscious about it because it's kind of the same with like I always compare it to like shampoo and conditioner bars. Like if you use like a shampoo bar that sucks, you probably are going to go right back to Pantene afterwards, which is exactly what I did with natural deodorant. I would try one, it would not work, or give me a like crazy rash, and I'd go right back to Dove. I mean, I probably did this like 8 times, just like trying to find the right natural deodorant. So when we found Little Seed, we were super, super, super excited. We've been longtime users of it now ourselves, and it just like, it really works. And it's made with arrowroot powder instead of baking soda, which is the ingredient in a lot of deodorants that break people out. It's a bomb. It's good. And it's by far our best selling item.
Cool. P.S. That was my mom that asked that question. So, Mom, if you need to
Oh, hi, Mom. Great work. My mom actually was just in our shop today. And that's what she thought.
Oh, that's very cool. Which, speaking of people who inspire us, Mom, right there. I mean, talk about sustainable living before people were really talking about sustainable living. Learned how to wash those Ziplocs from my mom.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot. Oh, hi.
Hi. I think I would love your shop, but I live in Virginia.
Oh, I hope you would. I think you would too. My mom loves our shop, and that's because my mom, honestly, is like a lot of the inspiration for a lot of this stuff that we do. I mean, you know, it's stuff that I thought was weird when we were growing up. You know, I've always been a little bit of a hippie, and it's because she kind of has always been that way too, really crunchy, doing things that like were strange and embarrassing, you know, at the time, and not using single-use things when I was like, why are you doing this to me? But now I'm like that. And I have her to thank for that. And so a lot of the things, you know, she's been making her own laundry powder for like forever. She packages it and like names it funny things. And so like, you know, a lot of the shop is a little homage to Barb.
Oh, Barb.
Oh, Barb.
So I'm doing one last check for any other questions, and it looks like someone just said, can't wait to visit the new Louisville location.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes out for an announcement.
Yeah, we are announcing our opening date tonight.
Oh, that's awesome. Super cool. Okay, so just to kind of wrap up a little bit, and then if we want, I'll stop the recording, and anyone who's joined us who might want to just come live for a little minute and just have a little like chit chat, you're welcome to do that in just a moment. I just wanted to remind everyone, the code for 10% off their Koko shop, good through Sunday, is Koko Loves Suds. And 15% off your first order at Redbud Suds through the weekend as well. Just follow the little link if you sign up for our newsletter if you're not already a subscriber. A couple other little quick things for Redbud Suds. We have our next camper chat in a month, the second Wednesday of November. Sorry, I forget the date, but second Wednesday, that's just when we're going to keep rolling. And we will be interviewing Mark Bowles from a shop called Intrinsic Provisions in Massachusetts. It's the second Black-owned outdoor gear shop in America. Mark is a gem of a person. I mean, a stellar gem, and has some really, really cool philosophies on entrepreneurialism and all that too. So, and he's just like probably one of the kindest people I have had the privilege to both do business with and also just get to meet in my Redbud sudsy ways. So highly recommend hopping in for that chat as well. All of that is for us. Jamie and Adria, how can people stay in touch with you, get to know all of your goodness, make sure that they hear about your openings when they happen, when you come to their city? How do they stay on top of all that?
Yeah, I would say probably the best ways to connect through our Instagram, first and foremost, which is at Koko the Shop. Secondly, our Facebook, and then our website, which is www.kokotheshop.
Or sign up for newsletters on our site.
Yeah.
Super great. Awesome. Well, thank you again so very much, Jamie and Adria. I know you're so busy, and I really appreciate you taking the time. You're lovely people. I wish you so well as you're doing all this opening in all the places. Stay safe, stay, charged, get that sleep when you can.